Well, the United States Congress is in a big hurry. They have lots of laws to try to get passed before they head out for their August recess. And let's just be honest here. Some of the issues that they've been tackling lately, well, to me, they make it sound like we've traveled back in time from 2022 to 1922. And that includes one bill about the right to use birth control. The goal of the Right to Contraception Act is to, quote, to protect a person's ability to access contraceptives and to engage in contraception and to protect a health care provider's ability to provide contraceptives and information related to contraception. Try to say that 5 times fast. Well, Representative Sarah Jacobs from California is helping lead the charge to make this a law. She's one of the co-sponsors of the Right to Contraception Act. Welcome, Congresswoman. Thank you for being here. Well, let's start with some good news. The good news is that this legislation passed the House. So my question is, can you get the support you need to make the Senate do what it needs to do to make it a law?
Well, thank you for having me. And yes, it passed the House, and we were really excited about that. And 96% of Americans support access to contraception. So I would hope that there are enough Republicans in the Senate who understand it's what their Republican constituents want, that they are going to get it done. And I have some amazing colleagues in the Senate who are working right now to try and do that. But the fact of the matter is, we should not even be talking about needing 10 Republican senators. We have the majority, and it's frankly time to get rid of the filibuster and codify these rights into law once and for all, so we can stop relying on this extreme Supreme Court for our rights.
So, Congresswoman, let's talk about this piece then, not the filibuster, because I'm with you on the filibuster, but there aren't the votes to do the filibuster yet in the Senate. There's a lot of votes needed for our friends in the United States Senate to get stuff done here. So let's talk about what the objection is to this bill, because the point you made is correct. We're not talking about contraception for Democrats only. We're talking about women, period, across the board. And some of those women, yes, they will be Republicans. So what reasons are Republicans giving to vote against this bill?
You know, some of my Republican colleagues in the House are saying that this is just about trying to sneakily get people access to abortion. Some have, other complaints. I think the fact of the matter is that if they are not supporting people getting birth control, they are being hypocrites, because I know these Republicans, they don't all have 100 children. So either they and their families are using contraception or they're not having sex.
I think that is very accurate. And I mean, frankly, I'm preaching to the choir here, but, you know, for most people, oral contraception is prescribed for very many reasons, right? Government statistics show 86% of prescriptions are written to prevent pregnancy, but 31% are to reduce cramps or other menstrual pain, 28% to regulate menstrual cycles, which can also stop migraines and improve mental health or even treat clotting disorders. 14% are for treating skin conditions like acne, and 4% of prescriptions are to treat the very painful condition endometriosis, which, you know, can lead to infertility if it is not under control. So what are folks supposed to do if your bill doesn't pass the Senate and these conditions I just listed apply to them? Or what if you're somebody that just wants to access birth control?
Well, that's exactly right. I actually used oral birth control in high school because of debilitating cramps. And I was actually the first person in at least the last 35 years, probably ever, to talk about my own period and my own use of birth control and Plan B on the House floor. And I think that really goes to show that for so long, these issues have been seen as separate, as only women's issues or things that only impact a certain group of people. And the fact of the matter is, for tens of millions of people, this is our basic healthcare. I mean, for a long time, this was the only doctor I went to, much like many young people. And so we should be treating this kind of healthcare and the access to it with the same seriousness that we treat access to all kinds of healthcare.
All kinds of healthcare. It's absolutely key. I was so elated to talk to you because you have been one of the most vocal supporters, if you will, of women's right to healthcare, whatever the healthcare is that they need. And I've also been watching your Twitter page, and you have talked about the fact that lots of people are out there watching their Google searches, location information, period tracking apps, because they could be used to watch our cycles and possibly used as evidence of a crime. Make that make sense to me, Congresswoman. What is going on here?
Right. So right now, there is no federal protection for any of your reproductive or sexual health data outside of what you are immediately talking about with your doctor. And so if you're using a period tracking app, if you're using Google search to find information, none of that is protected. It can be sold to anybody, state attorneys general, nonprofit groups, anyone could have access to that data. And we already know that there are groups that are trying to find ways to use this data to surveil people who might seek abortions. And so I introduced a bill called the My Body, My Data Act. And what it would do is set a national standard that for reproductive and sexual health data, anything that the companies want to keep or retain, they can only do what's strictly necessary to provide their service. They can't sell it to anybody. They can only share it with my express written consent, and I can ask for it to be deleted at any time. And I think it's going to be increasingly important as we see more and more states criminalize access to abortion. And it's our job as government to make sure we're putting in place protections for this very sensitive and personal data.
Congresswoman Shara Jacobs, thank you. We'll be watching this and that bill.